Hello everyone, and welcome back to DMG. Several videos ago, I bought this. A rebranded WD Blue drive with a fishy label and a forged date code. And because I'm rich, curious, and reckless, I couldn't help but buy another one of these drives from a different listing on AliExpress. So that is exactly what I've done today, and I have expanded my collection of bootleg laptop hard drives to 2. Now this one is pretty different than the first one I bought, but it's even more interesting actually, because it's a drive model that I've never seen or dealt with before, and the label is even fishier than the first time. So let's get right into it, and again, do watch until the end, because there's a lot of stuff that will be going on in this video. If you haven't seen the first video, I do highly recommend you go watch it, but as a really quick recap, I bought this hard drive from AliExpress. It's a WD Blue drive that has had the real label taken off and a fake label put on upside down. The drive says 80 gigabytes, but this is actually a 120 gigabyte drive. I bought a 80 gigabyte drive and they sent me the wrong capacity. This is, again, an actual WD Blue drive. Let's compare the controller board to my real Scorpio Blue right here. This is a real drive. The only thing fishy about it is the fact that it's a real drive being rebranded into a fake drive. I don't know why they do that. So when you think about it, it's not nearly as fishy as the one I'm about to show you. This drive just came in the mail today. I opened it up to see a drive model that I'd never seen before. Fresh AliExpress hard drive, let's see what it is. I've just opened this bag so I can pull it out with one hand. I haven't actually looked at what's inside yet. There we go, okay. Now this is apparently a WD Blue, but I actually don't recognize this chassis. It is neither Seagate, HDST, or WD. What are you? Of course it's got the fake WD sticker, but I do not recognize this pattern. You are a Fujitsu. I actually don't own one of these. Now, I'll get into that in a second, but first, let's look at the label. It is identical. Now, this one comes from the company YXS. This one comes from the company Camosun. I'll pronounce it Camosun for today's video. My apologies if that is incorrect. But we can see they both have YXS112 printed on the label right there. This is a YXS drive. This one is not branded as YXS. So that makes me think that these come from the same factory, but they're just branded slightly differently so that more listings can be put up online for the same manufacturer to sell more units. The same fishiness of the label applies, just like last time. Another fake date of March 28th, 2019, no part number, no CT, and a fake serial number that is identical on both drives. But let's get into the actual drive hardware now. This, as I said earlier, is a drive model I have never seen, and it turns out this is made by Fujitsu, according to the sticker on the back. Now, I was wondering why I've never seen one of these drives, and there are two main reasons for that. Number one is Fujitsu seems to be a lot more popular in the East. I very rarely see any Fujitsu products, including hard drives, here in the West. It is definitely more of a prominent brand in Asia, so that makes sense because I did get this drive shipped from China. The other reason why I have never seen one of these drives in all of my years of working on computers is Fujitsu actually sold their hard drive division to Toshiba in 2009. So that means this drive is at minimum 15 years old. So that 2019 date code is even fishier than on the WD drive, because WD was still at least making hard drives in 2019. Now on the back, I think I see something that corresponds to my theory. This sticker here, it's very hard to see, I'm sorry my lighting's not good, but it says 0309 and then 3671. 0309 sounds like a third month of 2009 date code. So if that is indeed what this is, this drive was made just 2 years after I was born, making it, in fact, 15 years old. But let's compare these drives to our real Scorpio Blue. Now we can see they've done the fake WD label again, even though this wasn't a WD drive at all. Now they did screw it up with the WD drive. As mentioned in the previous video, these holes correspond to those silver stickers. They're supposed to go around them like on this WD drive, but they stuck it on upside down here. As they did here, I suppose those holes would have been up here. Actually, no. Those correspond to the head assembly, so this Fujitsu drive is probably built upside down compared to the WD. Yes, our head assembly is here, our motor is there, compared to the WD drive, so they are built a little differently. I'm not saying this is an irregular design, I'm just saying I've never seen one of these. It is a sensible design from what I can tell. You've got your head assembly right here and your spindle motor there. A lot of hard drives, I think Seagate actually builds their laptop drives in this configuration, or at least did around this time. Anyway, ramble about hard drive construction over. Let's plug this into the computer. Alright, I'm going to turn on our caddy here. You just heard it turn on there. And wow, just like the last one, this one ships with a partition on it. It is named some Chinese characters. Let me see if I can copy that address as text and put it in Google Translate. It just copied E, not the... Okay, I'm so sorry, I'm very... Wait a damn second! This is an 80 gigabyte drive. 111 gigabytes free of 111 gigabytes. Did they send me another 120 gigabyte drive when I bought an 80 gigabyte drive? To be clear, I will put the AliExpress thing, like the order confirmation on screen. It says 80 gigabyte. Okay, so that translates to system, those characters right there. Let me pull up HD Tune so we can see what's going on with this drive. And I'll also pull up Crystal Disk Info, all the good test suite. That's not good, that's the bad sound. Now that's not displaying the drive's correct serial number, that is displaying the one that I sold recently, so okay, I just hit it with a rescan and it gave me this. So it doesn't have a good health status, SATA 150, 8K buffer, that's only 128 days of power on, so not too many flying hours. That's typical of laptop drives, as laptops usually spin down the drive when they're inactive. So laptop drives usually have much lower hours of disk usage than desktops, which tend to keep the drive running longer. And just like last time, the serial number on the case, of course, does not correspond to the one displayed in Crystal Disk Info. We have one uncorrectable sector. Yeah, it's a 120 gigabyte drive. I cannot believe they sent me the wrong drive again. Okay, so it supports AAM, which is actually pretty nice. I love AAM. Let me set it to the maximum performance, and let's run a random access test. It's really loud for a laptop drive. I've never heard one of these Fujitsu drives before, and I actually really like the sound of them. It's kind of like it's more of a muffled sound than a WD or a Seagate. It's It's not quite a squeak like some newer drives though. I really like the sound. We have a massive outlier in our data set. It's way up there while the rest are down here, but we're seeing average performance from a laptop drive of this age. Let me hit it with a benchmark real quick. Read benchmark should be around 50. Yeah. So that seems typical of a drive of this era, and that's about the same speed as the WD one. I mainly just find it hilarious that they A, sent me the wrong drive capacity again, and B, that they're putting these fake WD labels on Fujitsu drives, because, reminder, again, this was bought from a different listing on AliExpress. And now we come to the end of our video. I'm not going to restate my entire thesis from my original fishy hard drive video a few weeks ago, but just like this drive, I would like to pinpoint I do not have an issue with selling white label or used drives. I do have a problem with two things they're doing: trying to pass off a 15-year-old drive as a new one, and putting a sticker of a trusted manufacturer impersonating a trusted manufacturer drive on a drive that's not even made by them in this case, to try and make people think they're getting something other than they actually are. It's not the used drive that I have a problem with, it's the deception into trying to make people think that they're buying a new drive from WD, not a used drive from Fujitsu. As I said in the first video, I would not recommend buying a hard drive from any of these listings. I wouldn't really recommend either of these drives at all, but if you can get one for super cheap, that's fine. But I paid like $10 to $15, if I recall correctly, for both of these drives, not combined, each. So I definitely would not normally pay this price if it was not for the purpose of making this video. But that is where I'm going to wrap up today's video. As always, I have tons of hard drive related content on the channel. That's kind of what I do. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, please go check that out, as it may interest you. As always, thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time.